right, impromptu short podcast has begun. I got so fired up about a topic that I decided I needed to do a second recording, and I couldn't wait. So I got the one person who is always there for me. My brother, who is always there for me and willing to talk about topics. Placebo, Hunter Johnson. So yeah.
I'm here, Schnookums. Tell me what's the matter.
All
what
right.
did me man say to you?
He was a bad boy and he said sad things on Twitter. No. It was actually a question, okay?
Okay.
One guy, Dr. Joseph Ford Cotto, asked if the DOJ releasing all the names associated with Jeffrey Epstein would screw over global markets, basically causing a global market crash, right? Would you still want it to happen? Honest question, no BS. And underneath it, it was almost 1,000% like, yes, undoubtedly. You know, and people were saying stuff like, if the truth kills the system, then the system must die, and, you know, all that stuff. And I had to reply, and I was like, guys, if there's a global market crash, we're talking like millions, if not tens of millions of people are probably going to just straight up die from starvation. Yeah. And there's going to be even more numbers than that are miserable or barely scraped. They went from living comfortable, happy lives to, you know, they're not getting medical attention, so they're living in pain because they can't afford the medication. Like, you're not thinking this. It bothered me so much that everybody was just on they immediately got on the pedestal of self-righteousness and like, yes, we must. And I was like, guys, I mean, like, listen, I get it. I think the people on the Epstein list, evil, wicked, horrible. But we're talking about, I get that those thousands of, you know, young people who got molested and had big issues on that island. Yeah, they deserve justice. But I don't think by creating misery and suffering for millions more, that somehow is a just good, like, I do kind of get, like, I don't know, because I get what they're saying, like, it would foundationally, here's the other thing, I don't think it will foundationally change anything. It's not going to change the system. Even if they arrested every single person on it, and let's say it caused global economies to crash, and half of the U.S. Congress is on it's just going to get filled in with more people who will probably be very similar and do the same thing, and they're just going to be more, they're going to be safer. They're about, you know, not safer far as, they're going to not get caught. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, more careful about their,
so you're not, I think everybody who's saying this is imagining, well, if we make this one grand sacrifice, then we will solve the problem, and there will be no more manipulation of power for sexual it's like, no, it's just going to, different group of creeps who are power hungry will get shoved right in there, and it will probably, you know, they'll just be more cautious about it. And I always wanted to type, like, how morally kind of you to offer up other people's suffering for the like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, no, let other people die, that's fine for the cause. It's like, well, they may not want the cause. Like, have you asked them if they want to die for the cause?
Right.
So anyway, I guess that's what is like, what do you think about that whole, there's a lot to unpack there, but
yeah, there's a ton. I agree with your assessment that they are offering the lives of many more people than they themselves are willing or should be capable of offering. It's funny, philosophers are always blamed for being far too up in the sky with their theories, you know, and not grounded in reality. This seems like these people are very up in the sky and not quite grounded in reality. If that
I was absolutely thinking that exact things. Yeah, keep going.
No, that's a majority. I can't help but wonder, like, to what degree is it? I think a lot of people, I know my mom is guilty of this, and it's fine. My mother is a wonderful person. She has her guilty pleasure of the celebrity gossip shit, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but I can't help but wonder how many people sort of get so absorbed in that world of thinking of these celebrities and these famous people, these important people who really are no more important than anyone else here, right?
Yeah.
But they think, this conception is that they are more important, and thus the punishment of them is worth more than anything that could happen to the many, right?
Yes.
Like because they are the few, the elite, blah blah blah. And I think there's also something to be said about the time we live in being a very elite versus many time, right? There's a ton here. Like I said in the podcast the other day, we have a million bad cycles going on, and it's all gonna end up correlating with some judgments like this, unfortunately, that are I think askew, right? I understand wanting justice too.
I fully get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. If it wouldn't cause global collapse, I would love to see I was big on the put the list, get up, and then when someone's like, well, there may be a reason why they keep magically not finding in both sides of the aisle. Well, right, like either side could use it to completely destroy the other if they wanted. There's clearly people on both, and it's like there's probably like major economic impact. They just realized like, oh man, the whole globe would like collapse like economically. It would be the 1920s, but even worse, because just every major corporation would just falter. And I do wonder if how many of these people are just imagining like, oh, I would have to go a weekend or a few weekends without getting drinks with the boys, and they're not imagining the like
100%, right?
Yeah,
people. I certainly can't conceive of the true misery involved with like starving. Like, you ever see the like if they show you pictures of like sub-Saharan African like villages with the young boys and girls, they have those protruded bellies that come from like having like no
food.
nutrients, right? Like really really poor nutrients. I can't help but think that is could you do that to your kids? Would you be okay with your kids?
I can think of my dad.
That?
I was thinking of my dad. Like, my dad, and I think a lot of older people are barely, like, scraping by on Social Security and some of the, like, the small funds that they have set up over their entire lives, and it's just, they're just surviving until they die, right? But if you have a global collapse, that's not going to be enough. And so you're basically, I mean, a lot of them will die. Like, they can't afford their insulin they need or their whatever medication that keeps them functioning. I mean, because we do have longer lifespans now, but a lot of those later years, the reason we're living that long isn't because we're technically healthier than ever. It's because we've just drugs are like forcing us to go longer. But without those, I mean, that's what I was saying. I really think if this happened, it would saying that there would be millions of deaths. It's not, what's the word? It's not exaggerating, or there's a word for that, but
hyperbole.
Hyperbole, yes, it's not hyperbole to say. I think that's an actual like accurate estimate of what would happen, and that's why I'm like, I think people were just way too quick to be like, yes, 100%, do it now. This is a worthy.
It's
I'm like,
signaling.
Yeah.
Look at how honest I am. Look at how promoting justice I am. Right. It's all a grand display for those to look at.
Like, someone really did write that if the I can't remember what the actual. You may actually, because I think it's like a philosophical quote, but the quote of, if something cannot stand the truth, then let it die, something like that.
Doesn't ring a bell to me, but I'm sure.
Oh, okay, it may have been a political quote, a historical like someone said that. It's a quote
There's
of
no
something.
Philosopher alive that knows every depth, every reach of philosophy.
Right.
It could very well be a philosophical quote.
Okay,
Right?
I just wasn't sure. I thought I'd throw it up, but someone wrote that, and that's all they wrote, and I was just like, come on, like that's low effort, like. You're clearly just smelling your own farts and what a great, flavor I've got. I don't. It just bugged me just watching reply.
Respect the pragmatic element.
Like no one thought the long term, like actual. They just. I mean, even when they said, "Well, if it caused world collapse," they're like, "Yeah, still do it." I'm like,
"Yeah,
really? You think?" I don't think that's good math. In my mind, I'm like, listen. It would be horrible if that's the conclusion we come to, but if you have to have a few thousand people suffer the indignity of that justice not being arrived for their suffering, that's better than causing millions of other cases of because it's still injustice. If you're causing them to suffer and die or starve to death, or everybody has to work 80 hours a week now and nobody can have to even scrape by. And they're still not, like if you cause an actual global collapse, you're causing all this suffering, and that's injustice. You're just replacing the small injustice with an even bigger one.
Yeah.
And I'd agree with you. I do think there is an element where people just think we're fighting the man, and anything to fight the man is worth it. And then another thing, there was other people. Somebody asked a question about it? It was like, hold on, I've got I took a screen grab. What was the? Oh, and this is such. I hate when people do this on social media, especially Twitter. Here's the question: are the Epstein Files important to you? It's like such a broad question. I'd be like, well, yes, they're. I think everybody thinks they're important, but are you saying are they more important than? I think that is an actual, the real question that should be asked, but that wouldn't get as many.
Is it on your scale of value versus where on your scale does it lie? You know, the second one is a much better question.
Yeah, it's like, well, who wouldn't say yes, this is important, right? Like,
yeah.
No, I don't care if people get raped. Who cares? Like, like no one's gonna say that. Crazy. But I just see so many of these like replies that are like similar. It's just like, I don't know if that is a reaction and comment farm quote, or if that was just generally they didn't think it through. Because a lot of times you do see that happen, and it's intentional. They ask a very broad question, because then you get everybody giving their various answers, and then they're arguing with each other.
Thing, and it draws up hype. Yeah. I don't know the answer. I do think actually, like to some degree, like, and we've sort of talked about this. To socially facilitate, you cannot project 100% intelligence if you are you know what I mean? Like, it collapses the ability to communicate with each other, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to tone it down quite a bit, right? If you're exceptionally good at music and you know everything there is to know about music, and you're talking to other people about music, and you talk in that realm of really good, knowledgeable stuff, they're of course not going to follow it, and they're going to think you're weird, and it's not going to work well.
Yeah.
So I maybe that's why they ask the question in a slightly worse than optimal way, but I don't know.
I feel like I kind of agree with you, but I also think this particular instance was too much. You know what? It's like sometimes you can dumb it down too much, and it removes the value of the question at all.
I always hate when people say that, like, whenever something bad happens to them, and like, I just want to bring up a broader conversation about this, right? I want to raise awareness, and it's like, what? No, that is not good enough, right? Everybody say what they think, and then we'll move. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
I'm raising awareness of broader conversation. What are you talking about?
I think the idea of raising awareness as being a moral good, like in and of itself, has done a lot of harm to actual good being done, because it used to be you felt motivated to help a charity or give money or actually do something that and instead now people feel like they get that moral sense of I have done good by posting on social media and quote unquote raising awareness. And it's like, I mean, yes and no. You know,
that's exactly right. Like before, you had to feel good about yourself, you had to actually do something. Now we're making it so easy to feel good about yourself just by talking about a topic that it's like, okay, well, nothing's getting done, right? Like, but everyone gets to feel good.
Not even talking well about a topic. Just
it's just all fraud.
I've raised awareness. I did it.
Yeah.
I guess. Congratulations. I mean, most people know about this anyway, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like that really struck me as being very frustrating this morning when I got into it. I was just like, I don't know. This is always going to be our podcast. I've decided there's always going to be an element of me getting frustrated with humans.
Sure.
It's because it's like, I don't know. It's like, do you guys really not think any deeper than this? Like, is that really the depth of your? And you're so big, and there is a bit of like, I don't like when people are hyper self-centered, but pretend like they hide it behind a sense of not being. It's like the opposite. They almost like project the opposition. It's like, no, you guys are all answering because you got some sort of neuron inducing like chemicals kicked by saying, yes, fight the man, and you felt good about yourself. Like, none of you thought this through all the way, and none of you are actually caring about human suffering across, you know, in a broader sense or even in a real sense. It's like, of course, it's a tough decision. That's why it really is tough. Being a high-end, like, I think being a high-end politician is both tough and easy. It's easy when you're dirty and you're just doing it and you're just playing the role, right? But if you were to actually make difficult decisions, and some of these decisions mean not letting everyone know all the details, which could be the actual right choice, you get drawn up as, like, you know, the Brodies come out of the woodwork and the conspiracy theorists, and they're like, they're hiding it because they're part of it. And it's like, sometimes no, they're hiding it because the overall damage it would cause would create way more human suffering than just going, well, this is a bad thing that happened. It's not happening anymore. Let's just shove it into the corner and let's try to fix what we can fix. Because we're not it's not gonna fix anything, really. I don't know. I know you talked about running for office. I don't know that part of me goes, you know, if I ever gave up, I would, because then I could just, you know, make speeches
like
and get favors and get behind the scenes and be on the winning team, basically. You know, like being part of the elites. I'll get on the winning team. But I don't know if I could genuinely do it, because I think I would get too frustrated. What about, I mean, do you actually think, do you still have hope that you could fix things and be a good force?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I really think people are dying for good examples. If I'm being, like, good and authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Like the world doesn't need. I hate that the world doesn't need more engineers. The world doesn't need more nurses. The world doesn't need more plumbers. What the world needs more of are people who are authentically them, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Like
Honesty. We need honesty. Yes.
Yeah. And being able, and part of that is being able to deal with the parts of you don't like and then sort them out, right? Like, if you're not doing that, I think you're being inauthentic, right? So I think authenticity naturally breeds goodness. I just think people are struggling and that they don't have good examples around them, right? Like, and where do they go? They go to the internet, and quite often the people, like you, I hate to see it, but, like, you are not going to fix a young man or a young woman's life by telling them good advice on the internet. The only way you're going to do it is in person. There is no other way.
I have a question. How do you? So when you say that, people have said that, like, say, watching Jordan Peterson has caused them to turn their life around, take responsibility, and now their life is better. Like, do you not? Does that not count, or what? Like, explain how you're thinking about that.
I think that you can present a convincing argument, but I don't know. I suppose in true desperation it can work, right? Maybe. But I don't think it works as well, I suppose, right? Like,
I agree. It's kind of the idea of discipleship, right? Like, you can give people good ideas, but a lot of times, look, I know people hate, but I don't care. I'm a Christian. I'm going to.
Sure.
So you can give, like, when you have a pastor and he preaches to a big church and he puts out a message, right? All those people leave, but they have processed it through their brains. And a lot of them will do all kinds of mental math so that they don't have to change, and they will find ways that this applies to everyone around them. Oh yeah, you should. Oh, he was talking about you, and no one ever applies it to themselves. Whereas if you have discipleship, you can be like, well, hey, this is how it applies to your life. Like, this is the way these things, these principles, and these growths can apply to your life, and they can't it makes it to where you can't wiggle out. And I think that's what, like, online instruction does, right? It for people who are genuinely seeking, they will be able to take it and apply it. Like, people, I mean, it sounds a little egotistical, but like me and you, who will try to sometimes be self-aware and somewhat introspective and look and go, maybe I am flawed. Maybe this is where I'm fucking up, you know? It could work for them, but I feel like, especially the current zeitgeist, that is very psychologically defensive, and the bad things never apply to me, and the good things do, and the bad things always apply to everyone else. It kind of goes in one ear and out the other, and it doesn't actually have an impact.
I suppose the example when I was in undergrad at Santa Fe Community College, right? I was a poor student all of high school and a majority of college. I just didn't do the homework. I went in and I was like, when I'm in class, you have me for class, but apart from that, my time is my time.
Mm,
That was the philosophy I approached. Made me a decent student because I was smart enough to get by, but like
yeah,
not a good, you know what I mean? It's not ideal.
yeah,
Um, and of course, there is all sorts of evidence everywhere around you. You get all this good advice out there in the world that is, you should do your work. You
hmm
should try hard, right? You should be disciplined, blah, blah. It wasn't until I was in statistics class at Santa Fe Community College, took my final exam. Um, it was okay, but because I hadn't done the homework, he was like, my professor, Boris Nye, super Asian guy, right? Like
Really,
came in
Boris
with
was an Asian guy, huh?
Boris
That
Nye
sounds like
was
Russian.
yeah, I know, right? No, he straight as Asian as could be. But he said, I thought you'd do better, right? And that sort of
Oh,
human connection
yeah,
was enough, right? Like he was counting on me to be a good score for him, right?
yeah,
Like I had let him down. Um, that changed my behavior. Um, that's what I mean, right? Like,
yeah. But
if he had been online on Zoom talking with me, I don't think it would have had the
really
impact that it
okay,
did. I don't think it would have gone anywhere near that. But it was just because we were in person and I could feel his emotion coming through.
huh?
Um, that's my point here,
Yeah,
right? Like,
I can see that. Yeah, I can agree with that. I do think there's an element that is missing there.
but
And
if,
a lack of
I'm
human.
not trying to say that what like Jordan Peterson does, right, is bad or anything, or
Yeah,
it's not
or
doing
what we're
anything.
doing. I mean, we're
Yeah,
having yeah,
I think that it is probably like better than nothing, you know,
yeah,
and I'm sure he's doing the best he can. Um,
trying to get the
but
message out to as many people as possible. Right? Yeah,
absolutely. But I think there would be a more holistic thing if he had like 5 or 6 people in neighboring communities and they went out in person, right? And they did
yeah.
in-person things with in-person people. I think the effects would be greater for those individuals that they are reaching.
Well, isn't that like
Um,
the structure? That's kind of I guess what I was poorly talking about when I got into
it's the
it.
opposite of going into
Jesus had the
office.
12 disciples, and then the 12 disciples kind of were supposed to like make
Yeah,
disciples of other people, and that's kind of how the whole church system is supposed to work. You have somebody who eventually becomes knowledgeable, and they learn from their, and then they also learn those lessons and what actually apply, and then they also have a small they have their group of locals that they then pour themselves into, and right, it's like a
right.
MLM of growth and spirituality.
Yep.
um that's kind of like the best system, but we've kind of but you're right
I just don't think the internet does it as well.
as well.
You know,
Yes,
like
no,
I think the
yeah,
internet struggles with it compared to what it was originally, which is like we're built for in-person shit, man.
yeah,
We're in-person creatures.
no, I get it.
And we just I don't think many of us do that system anymore, whereby we take from those who are above us or were above us or have taught us, and we give
Yeah.
it to those who are, I just don't think we do that as much.
Man, that's
Um,
true. Because there's part of me that's thinking like I know that I feel very close to like you and Evil and stuff,
yeah.
but there is
Would you
something
feel
about if we
closer
ever
if
met,
were exactly,
we'd get a little
exactly,
bro hug and it would have a different feel. Yeah, I get that.
you know?
We'll have
Yeah.
to do that sometime. Except I poop too much, so you guys have to come to me. um, yeah, so I don't know. That was just my like epiphany this morning that I was like, I will either film my own short where I rant, but I'm glad I did it with you because I do think you brought good perspective. Like, I love having another person add to it was definitely has been added to, not some, you know what I mean? It's not just been extra content. It has been like bolstered, and I don't know. I it's kind of what I wish happened in the last podcast we had, but it didn't. So anybody who watched our last, it was a little disjointed, and it got a little funky, and I don't know. I would prefer these types of flows to our conversations.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll find people who like it. I have changed the music, so hopefully videos will get reach again because the last song, it's in like this very anime Japanesey. You can't even kind of really tell what they say because it's like drowned out by the music. But I bet a YouTube algorithm AI absolutely picks up on it, that it does, like right in the first like 10 seconds of the song, they cuss. And so I think that was starting to kind of harm the videos pretty aggressively. So I was like, gotta find a new intro song. Yeah, I don't know. Tell us what you think.
I don't know why, but the shorts are getting a lot of views comparatively.
Yeah, I gotta start to. Yeah, I mean, well, I think our shorts are good.
The last two, one got 963, one got 745.
Wow.
Which is a shame because the one that got 745, I was like, I am not a fan of this one. This is so disjointed, and at some point it like cuts to me speaking for someone else, and it sounds like I'm just saying,
I think if I remember correctly, what happened is it was trying to get the main points out
at the start.
Yeah. And then, well, that is one thing I've noticed, that they must have updated it. The Opus Clips does this where it will have like what they think is the primary sentence, the like big hitches statement. They'll do it up top in front, and then they'll have the whole conversation kind of leading up to it come after, including that thing. Like I noticed that in a couple of them that I was posting. I was like, oh, that's what it's doing now. It's having the like grab you sentence, right? The like,
yeah,
I like to poo-poo on the chief, and everybody like, oh my god, he poo-pooed on the chief.
And then it shows you how they
got there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I get, man, if it works, like if it works, if it gets eyes on and gets people listening to the rest of it, if they make it past the first sentence, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. I've got to like, that's the hard part of being the person that puts that stuff up, because I've already started taking more time because I'm going in and I am editing the subtitles. You know how it like gives subtitles to where it doesn't catch all of our stutters, and because those don't really matter, right? Like when I'm like, well, the, and then I say a sentence, it'll be like the, and then it's like that doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be there. And even like that where I said, Lord have mercy, I need to take speech classes or something, because I cut myself off. I stumble. I mutter. It's crazy because I'm really good. Like what I'm doing for this Remote Warriors, I'm fucking brilliant. It's not cocky. I feel very good about. I'm good at making words mean something and have like an impact and have a flow to it. But when you're doing it on a written document, the way my brain works, great, because like, no, there it is. You can like put it all together. Whereas when you're speaking and you do that, you're just cutting yourself off, and it feels really disjointed.
Everyone's had the experience of like you're in the shower at night and you think, oh, I should have said this in that situation. Oh, I should have said this.
Yep.
It's like if you're writing, you just go back and change it. You know, it's super easy.
I'm sad that written communication is dying out.
It's dead, motherfucker.
I mean, it's not completely, but it's getting there.
Just wait until current millennials and under become in charge of like the colleges and stuff. Because right now it's the older people that are still in charge. Shit is dead. The written stuff is dead. It's all going to be audiobooks everywhere.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because I do think there's something, I mean, I think they've even proven this, that by seeing it visually, your brain does, like if you see and hear it, like let's say you take notes and you're doing all that, it causes it to stick in your brain more than just hearing it.
It's a different like part of your brain operating at once. Like multiple parts are operating, so you have a higher likelihood to retrieve it later.
There's more pathways for when it gets to that branch. It has more pathways there. Oh yeah, and then all the other parts fill back in. You're like, I remember all that. And so I do think there is something to written media that is still valuable, and I know it takes a little longer, right? Like it takes longer to read something than to say it or listen.
The bad cycles are here to stay, unfortunately.
Don't you dare. Keep that
You're
voodoo.
letting you were about to end the podcast 5 minutes ago, and now I'm just ready. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I like
depths
what
of depravity.
I did have another one. What was that? Oh my gosh, I just had it in my head. I was going to talk about. Now I don't remember. Keep going. Death and depravity. Go ahead, placebo.
No, Lamentations.
Emo it out.
Yeah.
My girl never loved me. Sorry. God, academics. That's what it was. I was going to complain about academics because I did get a message from my professor, and it wasn't. It's not. She's bless her heart. This one's actually 1,000 times better than the last time I had a professor with this exact same content. But that's what we're going to talk about. I am at Liberty University getting my second doctorate. Honestly, I'm using it as something just to fill the space until I get a full-time job that will take up my time and pay me. But it's better than just sitting and playing video games all day, right? But this one is way better. But somehow Liberty, in their business program, they have a business, or a BUSI is how they have it listed in the documents, 711 and then a 710. Technically the 710 should come before, but they're kind of loosey-goosey. You can sometimes take this class before this one. The 711 had the exact same assignments. I'm talking same textbooks, same wording on the assignments, same length of words in the assignment. So I wrote her a thing being like, listen, I've already done these classes. I've already done these assignments, so I'm going to be turning into you the documents. I've already done the work. I've already done the research. I'm going to edit it maybe a little bit to make it cleaner than what it was when I first turned it in, or I'll try to tweak it a bit, but it's basically going to be, I'm not paying, if I'm already paying for the class, I'm not going to at least have to redo the work. Like, at least I'm going to, if nothing else, then fine. I'm paying for credit of work I've already done. And there's an idea, I wish I could find the exact email, but there's a thing called, dovetailing, which is another word for self-plagiarism. I don't know, if you're not involved with academia, you will probably never hear this, because businesses don't want you to waste your time repeating work, right? Like, in the real world, no one wants you to have to redo. However, in colleges and universities, they're big on you redoing work, basically, or just, and I think it is universities that they're trying to get more money, right? Like, they want to make the classes, you need to take more credit hours to get this degree. You have to take a certain amount, and they've expanded that, and so because you have to pay for more courses. But there's not actually that much. Sometimes there's a lot of crossover. A lot of classes cover very similar topics. This one happens to be the exact same. Like, I can almost understand if it's like similar content, but you could make your work. But they're like, no, you should change it because this is slightly different. You should still do the work. This is identical. But I think the idea of self-plagiarism is like absurd, and it's one of those elements that exist in academia that exists nowhere else, and it has no purpose, because it's the opposite of what real world application wants. No business wants you to do the exact same work twice when you do it once, and they don't want you wasting your time, their money, except you're not making any more progress by doing it. So I don't know. That is one element of academia I am not a fan of.
I would love to hear the argument by whoever brought self-plagiarism up in the first place. Like, what is the argument for it at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I bet it's like someone, like some student used one of their articles as reference or something like that and didn't mention it, and someone in charge was like, "Ooh, I got you, right? I got you. You used this article over here," and then the student went, sir,
that's mine.
That's my article." And then the guy in charge was like, I don't know, in enough power that he had to keep going with the bullshit to avoid, being embarrassed.
Yeah.
Right. So now my work is devoted to the self-plagiarism.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's the only one I can see. I see.
I agree. And then I think
reason.
Universities saw the value in it, in that they could
make you do more.
They could replicate courses, make you pay for more courses, but you had to do more work. So it was like, the reality is you still had to do it. That way they didn't have to generate more variety of content. They could just kind of keep repeating their own stuff, and they put the emphasis on the student to do it, because it doesn't exist anywhere else. And I guarantee you, schools saw that money sign and they go, let's all agree this is a thing. And they go, yes, this is a thing. And then people who only go, the rules are the rules, because there's a lot of professors who do that, right? They just they don't think rationally about what the rules are trying to accomplish. They just go, it's in the APA guidebook, right. the rule book you have to follow, so you have to do this, and so then they get behind it because that's all they've got going, right? All these professors, they're so far removed from actual production, like making concepts and ideas and writing stuff that actually applies to the real world. It's so purely academia. It is only academia that, that's their life now.
I think about that all the time, right? Like, so guy from Harvard, the professor I TA'd for up at FSU was a big fan of him, Sandel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's Harvard, but he wrote a bunch of stuff about justice and his theories on justice and the ethics of justice, all sorts of stuff about it.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, you've done all this work with it. What now, as a society, do we do, right? Like, now that you have done this work, because not an ounce of it is actually being put into any sort of legislation.
Yeah.
Not one lick is in there at all. We pretty much still go on the work of John Locke and Hobbes and some others from like way long ago, right?
Yeah.
Is this all for the next great civilization? Because if it's not, then it's worthless, to be honest, because we're not using it. Right?
Yeah.
There is no production with this, like these papers. Nothing is being done.
No, I do wonder that, because like when you talk about John Locke and those types, their stuff was used with it. It was almost like they were writing about things that were going on during their lifetime. They were explaining.
That time.
Yes, they were explaining, this is what's going on and this is what we should do, and so it was usable. Now I agree. Like, so much of academia just flutters off into the ether.
It does.
It doesn't get. Yeah. I don't.
And we pretend it's useful.
Yeah.
Right? We pretend that it's valuable for us as a society.
And that's why you get bad scholarship, because in order to get it recognized by society, you have to write some crazy, fantastical paper, right, that shows the patriarchy or whatever, so that some company, like, you have to make it so crazy that Fox News will cite you in their, news source. And they'll go, oh, a study shows blah, blah, blah. And people have to look up what the study is, and it ends up being yours. There's some, highly biased, crazy, inaccurate, clearly written with a bias at the beginning, and then you just spent the time filling in what you needed to protect your bias. So yeah, I do wonder why that. At what point in time did academia veer from being about preparing people to and creating people who produced in society for society into producing for academia to stay valuable in, like, you're just big inside of academia?
I think the best evidence we have to support us here is there was a great paper published, I don't know when, 2017. It's called "The Conceptual Penis as a Social Construct." You've probably heard of it. I know we've talked about this, right? Peter Boghossian, James A. Lindsay. It was made. It was crafted. It is a fake paper, right? They knew when it was all bullshit, and yet it got put into a
publication
journal, right? A sophisticated academic journal, and there it is out in the world for other. And imagine, if they had never said anything, it would still be out there, and people would be citing it, right? It would be used, and yet it's not, because they admitted, no, we were just trying to game the system to see if we could. And they could.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's because the academic system is almost strictly based off of, did you follow these grammatical and rules? Like, did you follow and that's it. And then the rest of it is gobbledygook. You can be gobbledygook long as you make sure it fits these certain, like, academic hoops you have to jump through. They don't care. Like, we don't understand it, but that's probably because it's just so brilliant. Let's publish it. It's like, it's because it's as someone who's been through it, right? It's frustrating because I know that I've had good professors, and there are people who do good work, but it's getting drowned out by the bullshit. Right, like I
think the question is the environment conducive to that?
Yeah.
Right? Like anyone can do good things in any situation. It's how much effort does it take to do the good things given where you're at?
Yeah.
Right? Move 100 feet in open grassland. Move 100 feet in Florida swamp. Right?
Yeah.
It's anyone can do the thing. Well, not anyone. Most people can do the thing. It's how conducive is the situation or the environment to it.
And how should it be?
And
yes. Yeah.
Right. And I think it should be like that should be the grassland. That should be open plain in college for academic research of that. Right? And yet I think it's we're planting the trees, we're planting the mangroves, we're digging up the grass a little bit.
Importing some water. Yeah. No, I agree. It's because actually talking about the group that I work with, Remote Warrior, he was getting his PhD in like this psychology, dealing with post-traumatic syndrome and all that. And he was talking about how the university he's at, I think University of North Dakota, maybe, I can't. It's one of those, North Dakota State, something like that. He was talking about how they have lost the plot. Basically, he's like, hey, I want to shift my study because this is real stuff. I've now got real people interacting with my study. I want to shift the focus to cover complex PTSD, how the government's not, or just in treatment in general. Psychologists are unable to process complex PTSD because it's not an either on or off. It is like there's way more complexity to it. Someone's not, I am suicidal, I am not suicidal. It could be like, bop, 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 boom, they commit suicide. It just has a different flow to it. It has different signs, different symptoms, and they just are not, they're like, yeah, you should stick with what you were doing because we're already this far into it, and, this is easier to make it fit inside of academic studies and in what we're doing. And he's like, I got to move somewhere else that's going to, he's looking to change where he's going because he's like,
their priorities are in the wrong
yes,
spot.
That's exactly it.
Like, what's the point of all the knowledge? To help people live better lives,
yeah.
Right? And yet you're so fixated on the academic aspect of it, right?
Yeah, that you're actively hindering the usefulness of it. Yeah,
exactly, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. I mean, he's publishing all these white papers, and I'm helping him work through them, and I'm like, are you wanting these to get published in academic journals? Because so basically he has to have two versions of it. One is I'm putting information out there and I want people to read it quickly and impact them and they understand what's going on. The other is like, oh, now I've got to go spend 3 times as long as it takes me to actually write the paper and put the information, going through and finding all these things that cite it and do the reference list, and I got to do all this. And I was like, because you're going to have to do, like, no journal's going to accept, even if this is real information, you're going to have to, like, play their game a little bit and even if what you're saying is, you could be humans breathe oxygen in your dissertation.
Prove it.
They will want. That's exactly. They will want an academic source, and now you have to do it in the last 5 years. Like now, it has to be within the last 5 years. You have to find someone else who's already written this about this and prove that what you're saying, even though it's no shit, like come on, everybody knows this. You still have to like validate that statement with a source, and it's just.
I took a study asking 100 alive human beings, do you intake oxygen daily?
Exactly. It's like it's gotten to be absurd, and I don't know, because I still wish that universities were what they used to be, like, and they can be if you go into it with the right mentality. I think you can use it, but I feel very proud about my work. I think my work is very applicable to lots of real world situations. Lots of businesses can use my work and understand it and use it and apply it. I made sure that it was that way. I made sure that the way I wrote it, with the language I wrote it, was understandable by a lot of people. It wasn't gobbledygook. It was actually like rational human English that function. It's academic enough that it hits those points, but it's understandable, but also it's applicable to content creators, businesses that are using social media to market. Anybody who's using any kind of and just in general human communication, they could use it to understand what's going on with their branding. But I had to choose to do that, and it took extra work. That's the problem, right? It took extra work to make good research applicable and usable and understandable. Thankfully, I did have a professor. I want to give him a shout out. Dr. Hartley. He understood the way I was writing, and he liked it. And he was like, "I want us to keep going down this path. Let's do something that is applicable." And so good on him. But I do feel for people who get trapped.
Yeah.
In the system. And then they see people who come up with complete bullshit, the metaphorical penis or whatever.
Conceptual.
The conceptual penis. And then you see them getting published and put in journals and getting offers from universities to teach, because they played the game. It is frustrating.
Yeah. It's just detached.
Yeah.
It's just it's so detached. Like, you have to put more work in to go through the quite reasonably argued paper and throw in a million citations from shit that you probably didn't need.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other people have to do the work of reading the intensely verbose language you've had to use, because you just can't say what you mean. You have to condense the words into these super ridiculous, like, you know what I mean? Like this long-winded, multi-syllable, just convoluted ass sentence. So it's more work for you, the writer. It's more work for them, the reader. And then it's more work to interpret it. And then there's disagreements about the interpretations.
Yeah.
And I can't help but wonder how much we're wasting human life here because we want everyone to have a job.
Yep.
We want everyone to be able to do not much of anything and be able to have a paycheck. That is of value.
Yeah.
That seems to be like, and is that a miracle or is that a detriment? I think it's probably a detriment.
Yeah.
We
should get paid for efforts, but
other ways to fix that, right? Some other way to get people what they need, but instead, Lamentations. We need to rename the podcast Lamentations. Not only that would be if I was in charge of it. That would be my
Oh, I did actually set us up. We now have a Rumble account. I posted one video. I'm getting ready to post the rest of them, but I've actually got the set to where I'm going to put it on one, and it should autofill. We have a Facebook account. I did that, so I'm trying to build because we've just been on YouTube. Once I split from the other podcast,
I think you should make a Christian Mingle account for the podcast. It's just like the thumbnail of the four guys there with the Discord thing on the side. Like that's what they see.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, those when we had the just like this being our thumbnail.
Yeah.
More views. I was like, yeah. It's I don't know if people just like the idea of seeing human faces. Like seeing the human faces makes them want to engage.
Maybe.
More than because I actually like our I like the logo and stuff. I think it does the job. It looks clean. It's sharp, but who knows? Well, I think we did enough for a little short-term podcast. I think we hit some good topics and we hit them hard, and now we can let the people enjoy and go about their lives. But yeah, I see all of y'all the next time. And we will have good, meaningful conversation. You are a part of meaningful conversation. We are fixing the world. We've decided, except not as much as if we were in person, but as we are fixing the world. Anyway, I love all of you. I'm now going to, turn on the music, and we will do other things with our day. And turn up the volume. Here it comes.